everybody. I am Big Will, and today we will be talking about the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, April 9th through 11th, that we're all attending. And we're going to give you some updates about some cancellations, some replacements, and just we're going to talk about what we're planning on doing and other stuff and such things. But I keep saying we. You're like, we. What do you mean we, Will? Well, I mean we. It's me and Southern Comic Geek. How's it going?
Well, I thought maybe you were just starting to refer to yourself in the third person, or you had to go to the bathroom. We.
Well, I don't have to go to the bathroom, and I'm large enough. I need to be in the fifth person, and I don't know how to speak in the fifth person.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Yeah, but to make it's even more we than the we have right now, because we have Dustin from Two Brothers Comics as well going on here. Yes, yes, and we are. Well, that'd be weird if that was the show, wouldn't it? So anyway, good Lord. Those are all you notifications.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I always forget to turn the notification thing off. I don't know why. And Flash by Night is here. What's going on? And yeah, he's like, oh, it could be I'm French. Oui. Yeah, but anyway, so Dustin, man, we haven't had you. This is our third one. We did one in sometime in March, and then we did one. That one was with Jason or
Jeremy. Yep.
And then the next one we did was just me and Southern, and this is the first one we've had you. So before we get into talking about the con itself, you're going. I assume Nick's going. What is your plan at the convention? You going as YouTubers, or are you going to try and buy books and also happen to film things?
So yeah, we're planning on being there all 3 days. We're gonna go Friday, and Friday is probably gonna be a day where we just go in, enjoy the con, try to pick up some books, to just enjoy the festivities like everybody else. And then Saturday, we are the only media team for the con this year. So Saturday and Sunday, we will be just working all day long. So we'll be there shooting, and Nick has got some amazing equipment he has picked up recently for us to use there. So we're going to be shooting film, talking to the folks at the con, talking to the guests. And it's going to be working, but it's still going to be fun. We're looking forward to it. But part of the working is going to be, we got to get those images of flipping through the books. So I'm going to still be hunting the whole time I'm there.
So are you going to try and get an interview with JDF? Because his line will probably be extremely long.
Yeah, I don't even know. Even with us having media passes, and that's what we're there for, I don't know that we could get an interview with him anyway, just because he does the last fan standing, and of course he's going to have the longest line, like you said. But he could be there signing autographs after the con closes, and he's probably got his whole team with him, and they're kind of hands-off people. So he's definitely one that would be super hard to be able to get any time with, unless Jeremy's able to work that in for us. But if we do, that'd be cool. If not, it's all good.
Yeah, well, if you did do that, that'd probably be a before the convention thing, because of he's the last man standing.
Yeah, and that was one reason why I was telling Nick I don't think we would be able to anyway, because he usually I've been to a convention where he was at, and he shows up literally right when it's time for him to start. He shows up 5 minutes before. He stays, in the back somewhere, and the lines wait there, and they get the lady. She hypes everybody up. He comes out with his IG live and walks past all the crowd straight to the booth. I mean, he's all business while he's there. So we'll see, though. We'll see.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that you guys will interview or try to interview both Michael Golden and Jim Shooter. They would be cool ones.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, yeah. Last year we didn't get to talk to too many people. we stood in line on Sunday for like 4 hours to get Claremont, and we had media passes last year, and we stood in line, and then we got to the front of the line, and then they pushed us off to the side, and they said, when the line dies down, you guys can have your time, no problem. And there'd be like 2 people left, and all of a sudden 40 people would come walking up. And you guys know what Claremont, he's got an hour-long story for everybody. And we're standing there this whole time, and Nick's got a camera pointed at him. And he's just letting these stories go. And then he looks up and he's like, "Wait, are you guys filming this?" He's like, "This stuff can't get out and be filmed and be shown." And I mean, like, he's like getting into some stuff apparently he wasn't supposed to talk about. But after like 4 hours, we had to roll though, because I had to get back home to Georgia, and we didn't get to talk to him. But I got to talk to Austin St. John. I got to talk to Lex Luger, a couple of other people, so that was cool. But we're hoping this year we can definitely do more for sure.
So Southern, do you have anything specifically you're going for, or are you like me? You just going because you're going to find some deals and maybe meet somebody cool or get something signed properly?
As far as books, no, I don't have anything in particular I'm hunting for. I'm sure that I will find plenty. But as far as big books, I don't know of any that I'm really hunting. But yeah, plenty of signatures, going to get some remarks, hopefully a sketch cover or 2, and by Rags Morales and maybe Michael Golden. Depends on their schedule and price or whatever. But I'm going to be up there Wednesday evening sometime, and so I'm going to be there all day, Thursday, through the weekend. So,
all right, let's get into some business here. The con is going on. Technically, here in Alabama, the 9th is the last day of the mask order for the state, but private businesses and health places, they can choose to still have you wear a mask. And because it's the last day and a lot of people are traveling in from other places with varying restrictions, the convention is going to be mask or face covering. You can do a shield or whatever, required. You must wear something over your face. It will be required. They have extra wide aisles. They are basically at half capacity for the space that they're in, and everything's spaced out. Everyone's got plenty of room to social distance, especially when it comes to the people, the famous people that you're going up and getting autographs for. There's plenty of distance between there and any vendor. And then there's also hand sanitizing stations spread throughout, designated places for people to eat if they need to eat and sit down. And any panel rooms are going to be limited capacity and spaced out seating. Now, you two were there last year as well, and the last year was the first year anything happened as far as safety stuff, because it's the first I think one of the first conventions during the pandemic ever, as far as I know.
I think last year it was like the only one that happened.
Like the only one that happened,
and this year is the first one of this size to happen.
Yeah. So my question is, how did you feel safety-wise last year? And after going through it, how much better do you think it's going to be this year after them having done it once before? Either one of you can start.
I mean, I was perfectly fine with everything. I don't have any doubts that everything's going to be fine this year again. So I know Jeremy's made sure that he has overdone it with anything that he needs to do to make people feel comfortable being there. He's definitely going, above and beyond anything that is being asked of him to do in order to put this con on, to make everyone feel comfortable being there. So I don't see that being a worry at all. Last year, it was great. They had everything spaced out great. And I don't see it being an issue. I'm good with it.
Jason, you got anything to add as far as the safety?
No, I think to Dustin's point, they had overdone everything that was required of them to do. And to Tyler's point, I mean, it is more spread out, so you're not bumping elbows with everybody. I imagine there's going to be more people there this year than there were last year during the middle of everything. But having said that, I still think that with the precautions that they're taking, it's going to be it's going to be a good time. I think there's going to be a lot of vendors ready to sell, a lot of people ready to move some books, and so if you're ready to buy some books, you're probably going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
And this place is like twice the size of a high school gymnasium too. So I mean, it's a huge place.
I think 106,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge place.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to cancellations because it is a pandemic convention, a RonaCon, if you will, Con Rona. So much like last year, this year, not as many guests as you would have in a normal year. And a lot of guests due to being scared, having conflicts and scheduling differences, and just not being able to travel unrestricted from wherever they're at. There's been some cancellations. So I thought I'd read through a few here. And if either one of you knows of any that I missed, chime in. Now, the saddest one to me is Lou Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk himself, scheduling conflict. He's not going to make it. So he will not be there. Brianna Buckmaster will not be able to attend due to a family emergency. And then we also have Jim, I forget his first name. It's Jim Murr, right? The comedian from Impractical Jokers or whatever.
Yeah. Jim Murray, is that right?
Jim Murray, yeah, Murr. He will not be able to be there. And they were going to have a replica of Thor the Impala from Supernatural, which I couldn't care less about. But the car's not going to be able to make it either for whatever reason. They have a few people from the cast of Ruby. They will not be there, but they replaced them with some other people like Eddie McClintock from Warehouse 13 will be there, and a different actor from the Ruby show will be there as well. And who have I missed? Is that everyone?
Did you get Murr? James Murr from Impractical Jokers?
Yeah,
that's what he was asking you about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one. Sorry, I think my internet was like going like this on my side. So I was
asking you. It's James, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Murr from Impractical Jokers. I'm sitting here trying to like look at I'm watching the connection on my computer go out and come in and go out and come in. So
yeah, I mentioned Murr, Ferrigno, Buckmaster, whatever the chick's name is, some of the Ruby people, the Impala.
Yeah.
Basically, no one that we would actually care about. As far as from where I'm sitting.
Me and Nick, we were talking to Josh and Ryan, Comics and Death Metal. Like we were 100% going to see if we could do some kind of Impractical Jokers steak with Murr while we were there, comic book style. Like that was definitely something we were looking forward to trying to do. And then he ended up canceling like literally within that same week. And I was like, oh, that would have been so good, man. Could you imagine me and Murr having Nick go do something that he's uncomfortable with? Because like with me, now Georgia Comic Book Guy, he's going to be there. We haven't met up yet, but we've talked a lot over the past year. He started a YouTube channel, and he was actually at my LCS recently. So I'm looking forward to seeing them up there. We missed them last year, but yeah, we were going to try to get Nick to go, do something. And I'm like, we have to use you because you're the one that would be uncomfortable. Me, like, what are y'all going to tell me? Go grab that Hulk 181 and run out the door with it. All right, you got bail money because I'm gone. But, it would have been fun, but it is what it is.
Now, Jason David Frank, he's only going to be there Saturday, correct?
Yeah. He usually only does one day.
Yeah, there are some people that are not going to be there all 3 days, but most of the people we care about will be there all 3 days.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm there mainly for the vendors. That's my main reason for going. But aside from the vendors being the top tier, who would you like to see? I would love to see Michael Golden again and Jim Shooter again. They're the main guys that I would like to see. What about you guys? Anyone else out of all the guests?
Rags Morales. I would like to have gotten, because the print that you're getting for being a VIP, that's the redo or the homage to the Disney comic that I mentioned earlier. It has a Hulk on there, and so everybody was supposed to sign that. I don't think it's pre-signed, and it has Winnie the Pooh because Jim Cummings is going to be there, and so they signed him for free. And so I would have liked him to be there, but he's actually going to be at a con in is it July? It's in Chattanooga, and so that's one that's fairly close by. As far as people, Dustin mentioned Georgia comic book guy. I'm thinking that T-Pain might be there. Comic Fu, Lady Fantastic, Exile State, Justin at Exile State, which he's up there near Chattanooga. There's a lot of.
I'm having trouble understanding right now.
I'm not even talking to you, Alexa.
Try a little later.
So anyways, there's a lot of YouTubers are going to be there. I think Ryan Comics and Death Metal, he's going to be there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know half what the people look like, but I know their names, and it's going to be interesting to see all the different the different people there. Of course, I would imagine most people, I'm going to be like, who is this guy? He's coming up to me. Why is he? He's looking straight at me. What's his hands out? Is there anything? Oh, it's a shit. Hey, who are you? And there'll be someone like, hey, Big Will. And I'm okay. Yeah. I didn't know Lady Fantastic was going. She didn't even realize it was happening.
So last time I talked to her, she had to check with her schedule, but she was planning on coming. Now, if she ends up coming, then it could be that Shorty, Shortbox Padawan, would show up too. There's a lot of folks in that Nashville, area. You're only talking about 2 hours down. If you're in the Georgia area,
a lot of Georgia people too. Now, a lot of the guys like Dusty Brick Brown, Al, none of their crew is going to make it this year. They were going to go last year, but thought it got canceled and didn't realize that they could have gone and were very angry at themselves. But they're not going to be there. But, yeah, there's a surprising amount of people that are supposed to be there. Barbarian Kung Fu was there last time.
He said he was going to be there this year too.
Yeah, or no, not last time, but the time before. And he mentioned that he was going to try and come because Arthur Soydam or Saddam or whatever is going to be there. And Barbarian's a huge fan of his. So, he's probably going to be there. And there's, CBCS is going to be there too. And since I mentioned CBCS, I had 4 things wrote down. The last thing I had wrote down was, what are you looking for? Because we're all talking about the people, but we're there for the books. Are we not? I'll tell you right now, I am going to be looking. I'm not telling you how much money I'm bringing because I don't want to give you a heads up.
Can I take a guess that won't fit in one pocket?
But I will tell you what I am looking for is FF and DC. Those are going to be my focuses for this convention, and most of the things I plan on buying will be to flip or to sell later. If I happen to find something at a great deal for the PC, I'm going to get it. But FF and DC is what I'm looking for. Southern, what you got? What are you looking for? Are you looking PC, sell, or specific?
Yeah, both. A lot of the rare Acclaim / Valiant stuff that they did, that's a good place to find that. Matter of fact, the double cover that I got out of a dollar bin at Huntsville last year is a Rags Morales art, and I'm going to get him to sign that double cover.
Both of them?
I don't know. I just get the front cover to sign. Well, because they grade based on the best of, right? So, maybe cover that.
Are you going to send that in CBCS or just have CGC grade it and get a green label? Because I hate the green label. But
no, I'm not going to have CGC grade my dog. I mean, no. I mean, if I can get around it, somebody besides CGC is going to grade anything. So,
CBCS is there.
Yeah, that I know, and I haven't really come to grips as to what all I'm going to submit at the show.
But I can tell you that much like CGC, a witnessed signature for them, $5.
Right, but it's more expensive if they authenticate it. So it is cheaper to go ahead and get it done, there.
Yeah.
And some people, if you plan to sell it, I guess it might matter to them that it's actually witnessed as opposed to authenticated. But I'm not sure. I haven't really decided yet.
Well,
And
it's also $20 cheaper. So
yeah. I haven't really decided yet what all I'm going to do, if I'm going to just keep them raw or what. It probably depends on how much I spend on sketch covers.
yeah.
I plan on loading up on several. I've got the same setup that I had last time. And so I'm going to bring get ready for several long boxes to come home with me and be in an auction near you.
Did you hear that, Dustin? He literally said several long boxes.
Yep. Better bring. I can see him. He's going to bring that little red wagon with him, and that he had his kids in last year, and kick them out. Was that you that had the wagon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's him.
Take the kids out of the wagon, put the boxes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked my wife. I said because she got some new stroller or whatever, and I said that's still going to be available, right? And she's like, "Oh yeah, you can still use it for that." And I told my wife, I said, "Look." There's a lot of stuff to do. Go shopping. You don't have to feel like you got to hang around.
Yeah. You don't need the wife and kids weighing you down.
Well, they didn't really weigh me down as much as I felt bad about it because they just circled around, and then I feel like a scumbag because I kept them there all day, right? It's like, go do something. You have some fun. I'll have some fun. We'll all be happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Dustin, what you looking for? Any specific books? You looking for PC to sell? What?
Yeah, last year I said I was going to pick up a Ghost Rider 1, and I picked one of those up, so that was awesome. And I even upgraded that this year, so that was cool. But this year, there's some Tales of Suspense that I'm looking for, specifically Cap related. So I'll probably be looking for stuff like that. Of course, if I happen to find anything that fits in my Turtles run or Mortal Kombat books, any of my odd collections that I like to pick up, stuff like that. But as far as big books, there's not really anything out there right now that I've got my eyes on. But I definitely would love if I could pull away with that Tales of Suspense 63 and 80. That would be really cool. I would definitely be happy about that. And I'm considering, I hadn't sent it off yet. I did the video where I was filling out the form to do the authenticated signature for my Captain America 112 signed by Jack Kirby. So I may just bring that up there and see if I can just give it to him on site and save a little bit on shipping. So I may do that as well.
Yeah, you can do it that way, and you wouldn't have to ship it there. You're also taking one less risk for the book getting damaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you wouldn't, but you would save that shipping.
Yeah.
Flash by Night had a question.
He was wanting us to go over the CBCS con process. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm probably the most experienced with them at a convention out of the three of us.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's pretty simple. If you have something already signed, it's just a matter of giving it to them and paying the money that it costs, which is regular grading fee on top of $25 for the first signature. And if there's a second signature or more on the same book, that's an additional $15 instead of $25. And you pay that. And
that's a good point. Not to interrupt you, but last year you caught them trying to mischarge you for it, your buddy, for that, right?
Yeah.
So so pay attention to that, because if you get something double signed, like say, because there's a bunch of people that you could, like Michael Golden as an example. I've got a Transformers 2 that I'm going to get Jim Shooter and Michael Golden to sign, and so they don't charge the same price for
that would be those two signatures to get authenticated would be $40, not $50.
Right.
And that because they charge the big price for the first and then a discounted price for any additional signatures. And then you have, And then you have the witnessed, which is you need to go up to their booth before anything and say, hey, I'm getting this witnessed by whoever, like Jim Shooter is going to be there. I'm getting this witnessed by Jim Shooter. They say, okay. And then they'll tell you, they'll either have someone already watching there at Shooter's booth, or they'll have someone follow you and watch you get it signed. And then you bring it back. And that's just $5 for that. And unlike a lot of conventions this size and smaller, if they say CGC's there, that means someone who is a facilitator for CGC will be there, not CBCS. CBCS, the actual company, CBCS, will be there. If it's actually them, it's not a facilitator that you're working with, a middleman. You're dealing with the actual company. And if the same guy's there, and if the same guy's there this year that was last year, I can tell you right now, he's fun, he's great, but you better watch what he writes down like a hawk, because he's liable to mess something up or charge you the wrong thing on it because he can't multitask. Ask this guy right here and my buddy Micah. They both have had an experience.
So now that was what what's his name had told us the first time we talked to him, that it was supposed to be the CBCS themselves. PSA is also going to be there. So if you have like posters, pops, things like that you want authenticated.
Not PSA, it's JSA.
JSA. Why am I saying PSA? Anyway.
You're thinking cards, probably.
Maybe so. So Flash by Night, Transformers, and Jim Shooter. So Transformers #2, Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief at that time, and Michael Golden did the cover for that comic. So,
and you'd be surprised. You can get Jim Shooter to sign a lot of books you wouldn't think of, like Avengers Annual 10. Michael Golden did the interior. You get him to sign it, and that was under Jim Shooter's leadership. So you could get Jim to say, you could have a double-signed Avengers Annual 10 versus Rogue if you wanted to at this convention. And then the actual CBCS representatives from the CBCS will be there, and they'll just take it, send it straight on to Dallas for you, and you'll get it graded. And that would cost you $10 instead of $40 getting it witnessed rather than authenticated. So
I think Flash by Night is actually going to be there because
I believe he is, yes.
I have his books that I'll be dropping off for him to save him shipping. I got Dustin's books. You never answered whether or not you needed those turtle books that I sent you the numbers on.
Oh, I'll have to look at that. I probably do, though.
But I was pulling out.
I had all my stuff packed in the other room because I pulled everything out of here, so I couldn't even get to them. But I got them out now, so I'll double check that. Thanks for reminding me.
So, hey, Dustin,
that's Transformers 2.
Is that two brothers in the chat? You or Nick?
That's Nick.
I figured. I was just making sure. All right. Well, that's really all we wanted to get up and make sure we tell everyone is all about the cancellations. To tell you that it's April 9th through 11th, some things that we're planning on getting, what safety precautions they're doing and everything. But what we want to do now is we're not just going to leave. Anyone who's going to be there or just curious, has any questions in the chat, feel free to drop it in and we'll see if we can answer them while we're all three here. Let's see. Jam said, I know it's each person's own risk, but will you get a better deal on comics going on the last day of the con? Oh, yeah. Yes, but you can't hope that the one you saw on Friday will be there on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is, you will more than likely get a better deal.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's Avengers Annual 10, the Toy Biz variant. So you have a lot more room to actually sign nicely over here than you do on the regular Avengers 10, and just to be different.
Better cover too.
I'm gonna get.
It's
not hard to beat the cover though.
I know, right? So I'm gonna get that signed there.
Something else. A lot of guys were throwing in one of our chats one night when we were talking about it on one of our live streams. And Josh actually mentioned that, it sounded like it would be fun. And I know Ryan was talking about it too, but I don't know if we'd want to do it Friday or Saturday, but one of the days after the con, we were talking about possibly, anybody from the comic community that's there, if we all want to get together and go find somewhere that we can all sit down and grab a bite and hang out and talk after the show one night. I mean,
I was actually going to ask you guys when we went off air. One of the ideas I had was, since so many different YouTubers and IG people are going to be there, why don't we see if we can get like a table or something at Cracker Barrel and just go and, the two brothers could probably film it, and that'd be a good thing to film, and just have all us talking together and, shooting the breeze and maybe mention some of this cool stuff we got. Because I know we're all probably going to do videos on our own talking about, I got this, and I got this. But, it'd be kind of cool just to sit down and talk with everybody. I was going to throw that in there as
we'll definitely find somewhere for sure. Josh was talking about some place that he knows that was real good and should be able to accommodate us. So I'll see what he was talking about and let you guys know. But I think that definitely would be a really cool thing to do for sure.
So is Josh going to be set up at the convention this year?
He is supposed to. Now he's not. The last time I talked to him, he wasn't sure how it was going to work. Haven Comics will be there in some form. And I think that's going to kind of be like our home base where we're going to, keep our stuff stashed while we're out filming or put equipment or whatever. But Josh is supposed to get his second shot like that week or the day before the con or something. So with what that's been doing to everybody, like he'll probably be down and out. So not sure yet. Just depends on how he's going to be feeling, I guess, after he gets that shot. So we'll see. But he that's definitely his intentions.
So, yeah, and if you go, these are concrete floors, wear comfortable shoes.
That's another thing. And I'm going to read this out loud to make sure I understand the question. So is it drop your books and pay for them to ship to us and not drop and get back last day?
Oh, he's asking if they're doing on-site grading, and I don't believe they're doing on-site grading.
No, CBCS does not do on-site grading, period. They don't do it because it's just, I mean, you can watch some of Comic Tom's old videos where he's talking about, conventions where CGC does that. A lot of 9.8s, and strangely enough, there seems to always be a 10.0 or a 9.9 when that happens.
Well, that's why everybody likes them.
Yeah, but that's why CBCS, that's why they do not do that. So, no, you cannot get it graded at the convention. It'll be, if you drop it off, it'll be shipped to Dallas. Otherwise, you just won't get it graded by dropping it off there.
And Nick said Josh will not be there. Apparently, he has had an issue. Man, that sucks. I'll have to reach out and make sure he's doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know last year at C2E2, Kenny, Comic Cat 84, cracked open a 9.6 Uncanny X-Men 266, didn't press it, didn't clean it. He just cracked it open.
Let it breathe.
Submitted it, and got him a 9.8 by the end of the weekend. The page quality even improved from off-white to white to white pages. So, that's wild. I recently saw somebody sent a book in, and it was somebody on Instagram I saw today. They got the same grade back at 6.5, but the page quality dropped. And all they did, they sent it back in, and the page quality dropped. The grade stayed the same, but the page quality dropped. And I was like, how does that work? Well, it's CGC. So
yeah, there's two reasons. One, it's CGC, or depending on when it was originally slabbed, CGC's now changed what they consider white. A white page isn't a white page anymore. Whatever was the whitest at the time of publishing will be white. So if off-white is the white at the time of publishing for that particular issue, then they'll call it white where they used to call it off-white.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because there's definitely a big difference in that color between depending on when it was printed for sure.
So
hey, we got Shorty in here. Maybe we can ask, hey Shorty, are you and or Lady Fantastic coming to the Huntsville convention next weekend?
I just messaged Lady. She messaged me back. She said she's got to check her schedule or whatever. So, but yeah, Shorty, come on down. Bring Burns with you. Or you might want to leave Burns. I don't know, but yeah, come on down and have some fun at the expo. Now, they actually there's a group. There's a group that has several at different locations. Of course, they all canceled last year. I forget the name of the group, but they're actually having one in Jackson, Mississippi. Billy D. Williams is supposed to be there. John Beatty is supposed to be there this year. Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's good to see that cons are coming back, but the con in Jackson, some of the same vendors are going to be there. I forget the guy's name. I want to say it's Mario. Does that sound right?
Mario?
Yeah. Okay. It is
Mario.
So he's a pretty cool guy. I met him the first time in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's the fun thing about going to all these different cons. You see some of the same people.
Yeah. I first met him at Dragon Con in Atlanta.
Yeah. And he's pretty cool. I actually bought something from him twice. And the next day of the con, I said, dude, I came back. Man, I hate to ask you this. He said, let me guess, you bought something, two things, the same thing. I said, yeah. He let me trade it back out. Not even ask me a question.
I've never been to Dragon Con. Is there comic vendors there as well? I know it's like mainly.
Yes, there's comic vendors. Why else would I go?
I mean,
son.
Hey, there's a lot of cosplay going on. So, but
it's mainly a science fiction and cosplay convention, but it does have comic books. It has more. You can get more stuff signed than you can find the actual book to get signed there.
Okay, cool.
There are plenty of vendors. I've had some great deals there. There's going to be it's a huge convention, like 100,000 people.
Oh, yeah,
but you're going to find about the same amount of vendors as you will at Huntsville.
Okay, because I know
as
the
far as
Atlanta
comic books, that is.
Yeah, I went to the Atlanta Comic-Con last year, and
it's different.
It left a lot to be desired. There was a lot of vendors there, but I don't know. It seemed like I don't know. To me, the con as a whole was not what I was expecting. But I almost went to Dragon Con, but I talked to a guy I work with, and he's been into this stuff his whole life, and he's older than I am. And he was like, "Oh, you're probably not going to find much comics there, man." He's like, "All anybody goes there to do is do the cosplay and the hotel parties every night." And I was like, "Okay," so I didn't go, but I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Those are big things, but you will not find. Unless you go to like San Diego or MegaCon, one of the big conventions like New York, there are so many famous people. They fill an entire giant ballroom there, and they have like William Shatner's there every year. George Perez is there almost every year. I mean, there's a lot of people there. Peter David's there every year. I mean, that you can get to sign stuff. For the size convention it is, no, there's not many comic vendors, but for how many vendors there are, it's enough that you can go and find a deal. But the artists that they have, even ones that don't really do comic books, they have fantasy artists as well. You will find some of the coolest and best art. Okay. And there's a lot of artists to get signed. And then, of course, there's also the parties. There's the gaming. There's the cosplay.
Yeah.
The sci-fi authors and fantasy authors doing stuff. There's actual like legitimate rocket scientists there doing real science stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool. I would suggest to you, if you want to go to Dragon Con, you buy your tickets as close to a year in advance as you can.
Yeah.
Have either a place there, like you live there, so you'll be all right. If you don't live there, you'll need to like be out of the city. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay a discounted price, but it's a discounted at the Hilton.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So it's not that cheap.
And it was actually
make sure you utilize the bus system.
Yeah, and it was actually
you're willing to walk.
I think it was actually 2 or 3 years ago because I did not go to Atlanta last year. They didn't have it. It was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I wasn't as knowledgeable at all as I am now. Not that I'm knowledgeable now. Like I said, I'm not a smart guy. I just play one on TV, but. Um, I think the only person I talked to was Clayton Crane, and the conversation went about as far as me walking up. Oh, hey man, can you sign this book for me? And got him to sign my book, and walked away. I didn't even know what. Of course, that conversation would be completely different now, but I think he was probably the biggest thing they had there, and I don't think even at that time he was as huge a deal as he is now, because I mean, I waited in line for like 45 minutes, but that's because there was one person in front of me and that was it. And this guy brought a suitcase and he had him sign like at least 50 or 60 books. And I mean, he sat there and talked to him and talked to him and talked to him. But yeah, I'm sure if I was to go with the knowledge about the books now, I would have a different opinion.
Yeah.
I was upset because they didn't have what I was looking for, but that was just the odd stuff that I still collect, but that I collected then.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I can speak for all of us when I say beware the ones with suitcases.
Yeah. Don't get behind that guy.
No.
Or wagons.
And I was like kind of ticked off at him, and I almost said something too, because I'm like, dude, I'm standing here with one book in my hand and you keep looking back at me saying, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, bro, I got one book. Let me get my one book signed. Like, I don't even want to talk to this man because I'm a little nervous. I don't even know him. Like, I don't even want to talk to him. I just want him to write his name on this book real quick, and then I'm going to leave. So,
yeah, man, I remember I've seen this multiple times. And also beware the guy that doesn't care about condition. Because I remember going to Dragon Con and there was a guy with a suitcase. He got in front of an artist, unzipped it, and handed down 2 stacks for a dude to sign. And then I remember at Huntsville, Marv Wolfman, I was in his line for like a second or third time, and the guy in front of me had a collection of books in like a binder where you just slide the book down. Didn't care about condition, but he was like 60 years old or something, or 50, so he didn't care. And he had Marv just sign all of these, and he just kept, there was like 30 books or something. So yeah. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Dragon Con, you would enjoy it as long as you make sure to just know it's a vacation. I know the lines are going to be long. I know it's going to be a long time waiting.
See, and that's where
and make sure you use the buses.
I don't do well.
Use the buses.
That's where I don't do well, man. Standing in long lines and crowded people bumping into me and stuff like that. But and then I heard you definitely got to get out of there. Don't be anywhere near it when they do. Like, I guess they do some kind of parade through the street. Like, you don't want to be around there.
On Saturday morning, make sure that if you want to do anything on Saturday at all, it's either at dusk or you get there at like 7:30 in the morning. That way you can get in line at the door to where like the comic books are, like we did one time. That way you can be there, because if you don't, you're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
The parade.
And I heard the parade is not family friendly. Do not bring your little ones.
I have no idea. All I know is it's a parade at a convention for nerds in Atlanta. It ain't no Macy's Thanksgiving Day, okay? But anyway, so we don't really have any other person asking questions. We might talk a little bit off air, but as far as being on there, I think we pretty much said everything needs to be said. If you haven't got your tickets and you're thinking about coming to Huntsville, Alabama, April 9th through 11th for this convention, by the way, you can go on a previous video I did about the convention, or one that Southern did about the convention, and I think Two Brothers may have a video as well, where the information for the website to get tickets and all that good stuff is there. You can still buy tickets. They're no longer discounted, mind you, but they're not that expensive anyway. And if you're the type of person that just doesn't know, you can buy at the door if you want to. And with that, thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Jason, for coming by.
Absolutely.
And yeah, okay, we're going to go away now. Bye.